video, we're going to be working on partial quotient method. So the partial quotient method is just another way to divide multi-digit numbers in a way that if you're not so good with division, you might prefer it. You might not like it, but we're going to try it today and see how you feel. So first things first, we're going to use a lot of friendly numbers. Friendly numbers are any numbers that are easy to multiply by. So 1, super easy to multiply by. 2 and 5 are typically our friendliest numbers, but it's whatever you're comfortable multiplying by. It's also important to remember that we can add a 0 to any of these. So we can multiply by 10, by 20, by 50, by 100. Any of those will work as friendly numbers because they're easy to multiply by. So our first problem, we're going to do it on the graph paper to learn how to do this on our graph paper before I give you the boxes. That way when you're working out your classwork, you'll be able to do it on graph paper and the boxes. We've got 873 divided by 5. Make sure we have our division house, and the dividend is inside the division house. Go ahead and draw this right line all the way down to about there. For partial quotients, we need to have that right line so we can separate our friendly numbers from our subtraction. Some of you were drawing this line yesterday for your normal division, and that's fine as well, but it's usually for partial quotients. All right, so our goal for this is to multiply this 5 by some number that will get us close to 873. So I like to start off super easy and say 5 times 100 equals 500. So I'm going to go ahead and just start there. So I'm going to put my friendly number of 100 out to the side here. 5 times 100 is 500. And I'm just going to subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. 7 minus 0 is 7. 8 minus 5 is 3. Now I need to find another friendly number that I can multiply by my 5 to get me close to 373. I know that 5 times 5 is 25. So that means that 5 times 50 would be 250. So I'm going to say that 50 is my next friendly number. I'm going to say 50 times 5 is 250. And again, we just subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. 7 minus 5 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. All right, so now I've got 123. So what can I multiply by 5 to get me close? I know that 5 times 2 equals 10. So that means that 5 times 20 would equal 100. So let's go ahead and try that. I'm going to let 20 be my friendly number here. 20 times 5 is 100, and we're just going to subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. 2 minus 0 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0. So I've got all of this done. I've got 23 left. So let's say 5 times 2 is 10. Let's use 10 as a friendly, let's use 2 as a friendly number. Let's use 2 as a friendly number because I know that 2 times 5 is 10. So let's subtract. I'm going to get 13 left over. We can use 10 again. So let's use 2 as our friendly number again and subtract 10. And we've got 3 left over. So this might look a little bit longer than traditional long division, but in reality, it's a little bit easier because we're just subtracting and adding instead of having to do much with division. In order to find our answer, we are going to add up all of our friendly numbers. We've got 100 plus 50 is 150, plus 20 is 170, plus 2 is 172, plus 2 is 174, and we have our remainder of 3. So our answer to 873 divided by 5 is 174 remainder 3. Let's go ahead and try a slightly harder one. For this next one, we're going to do 740 divided by 13. I'm going to go ahead and think about my friendly numbers off to the side here. I know that 13 times 1 is 13, and 13 times 2 is 26. What about 13 times 5? I'm going to work that out. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. 65. I'm going to write that down. You might write these down to the side of your paper as well. So I know that if 13 times 5 is 65, then 13 times 50 equals 650. And that's pretty darn close to 740. So I'm going to say my friendly number is 50. 50 times 13 is 650. Let's subtract. I did give you your boxes here. 0 minus 0 is 0. 4 minus 5, can't do that. So we have to borrow from our 7, make it a 6, 14. So count backwards 5 from 14. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Got 90 left. So I'm looking over here at my friendly numbers that I've already written out, and I see that 13 times 5 is 65. That's kind of close to 90, so let's go ahead and do that. Remember, I'm trying to go the friendliest, easiest numbers that I already have written. So I know that I'm going to pick 5 as my friendly number here. So 13 times 5 is 65. Let's subtract. Got to borrow, make that an 8 and a 10. So we've got 5, 25. I see that 13 times 2 is 26. That's not going to work. So I'm going to have to go up and do 13 times 1 is my friendly number. We've got our 13. Let's subtract again. 5 minus 3 is 2, 12. That was pretty fast. Let's take a break and look back at that. I'm going to underline my friendly numbers. So my friendly number was 50 to get 650, 5 to get 65, and 1 to get 13. So 50 plus 5 is 55, plus 1 is 56, and 12 is my remainder. Looks good, looks good. Let's go ahead and look at the next problem. I'm going to have you go ahead and solve this one. Go ahead and solve this one, and then see if you get the same answer I do, and we'll work through it together. All right, for this one, I'm going to go ahead and say 16 times 1 is 16. Should probably work out 16 times 2. Makes it a little easier for myself, so I know that 16 times 2 equals 32. I'm going to go ahead and work out 16 times 5 as well to make it easy. All right, so 16 times 5 equals 80. So I want to take the numbers that I've got, some pretty easy numbers, and find something close to 9,735. I know that 16 times 5 is 80. So that means that 16 times 50 would be 800. What if I go up one more and say 16 times 500? 16 times 5 is 80, and add 2 zeros, that's 8,000. That is pretty darn close to 9,000. So I'm going to say 500 as my first friendly number. That's a little bit bigger than we typically go, but I'm going to see if you got the same one as well. We're going to say 8,000 because our friendly number is 500 times 16 is 8,000. And let's go ahead and subtract. 5, 3, 7. We've got 1,735 left. I'm going to keep it easy, and I'm going to say 16 times 50 is 800, and see if that takes us down a little bit. 5 minus 0 is 5. 3 minus 0 is 3. Borrow from there. 17 minus 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's a 9. We could take 800 from it again. So I'm going to say my next friendly number is 50 again. 50 times 16 is 800. Let's subtract. We've got 135 left. You know, I could just keep with my 5s here. I see that 16 times 5 is 80. That's pretty close to 135. So let's go ahead and say 16 times 5 is 80. 5 is my new friendly number. 13 minus 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That gives me 55 left. Well, we could say 16 times 2, and I know that's 32. This is all about just picking enough friendly numbers until you get to the bottom. Unfortunately, I'm gonna run out on this one, but that's totally fine. We can just keep writing in our notebook. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 55 minus 32. That's going to get me 23. Can't do 2 again, so we're going to have to do 1. 1 times 16 is 16. That should be a subtraction symbol, not an addition symbol. All right, so 23 minus 16. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 is 7. So let's take a look at this. This one got a little bit longer than I was expecting, but that happens when we get to our thousands. We're going to count up our friendly numbers. So we have 500 plus 50 is 550. Plus another 50 is 600. Plus 5 is 605. Plus 2 is 607. Plus 1 is going to be 608, remainder 7 as our answer. I hope you got the same answer I did. If you did not, make sure you back up that video and copy my partial quotients just the way I have them so you have your friendly numbers to help you out a little bit more when you're doing your classwork.